Okay, guys, welcome to this meeting. Let's start. For this F1 transcription, my name is Essen. I'm working as a senior project manager with the company, and this project is basically the content of the audio is related to F1 communication, like the crew, they're communicating with each other, and those kind of audios are there for the transcription part, which kind of makes it a little bit tricky, but at the end, not that much difficult to do if you have good listening skills, if you have good searching skills, because that is something you will be needing a lot when you start working, because a lot of terminologies and a lot of names for racers, teams, and these kind of stuff, which we normally don't hear. They're going to be there in the audio. So when something like this happens, what we have to do is we have to search for the similar words, and the rest Google can help us out. So guys, this training is not going to be on the direct platform on which the project is going to run. That is yet to come. But right now, everybody needs to go through a test. We've prepared a simple, very easy test for the transcription check. You will have some audios. You need to transcribe them. The rules are mentioned above, and the rules we will go into detail in this meeting so that we give the explanation as much as we can, and then rest of the part you can get from the guidelines document. So guys, allow me to first share my screen. Uh, okay. So guys, this is what you're going to see. Basically, to access this test, we're going to give you a link. You can input that link and it will bring you directly onto this page. Over here, you need to enter your full name, your phone number, your email, and your manager name. So this is the part where a lot of people get confused at the time of signups that who is my manager? Basically, your manager is the person who recruited you and brought you to this project. If you're not directly working under some manager, then you need to write down data nomad over here. So that means you don't belong to some team manager. You came directly through our own advertisement or something like that. So I'm going to take you guys through over here. Let me change my mail because I've already done attempt on this one. So let's add this, and over here, data nomad. Okay, guys, can others also confirm if you can hear me or?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so guys, if somebody's having difficulty hearing, then you can leave the meeting and join back again through the same link, and the problem should be solved most likely. Okay, so guys, this above description, this is basically the guideline which you have to follow. And over here, you see there is a timer running. So you have a total of 15 minutes to attempt this whole test because it's not very long. It's just 7 simple audios, 10 seconds, 4 seconds, 6 seconds, and these kind of like none of the audio is very long enough. So I'm going to take you guys through in detail one by one. Number one is the content part, which I already mentioned that this is F1 racing communication. So it's going to have a lot of different context and different vocabulary, which you need to search online. And also there is a list available that I will share with you guys in the group. So if you find some word in that list, it makes the job more easier for you. So number one thing is whenever you come across a proper noun, like for example, the name of a racer or a team or some country, some place or anything, you need to capitalize it. It should be in uppercase, but that doesn't mean it should be completely in uppercase. It means the first letter of the word should be capitalized. So proper noun and person name, places, product name, etc. These are supposed to be in uppercase. Other words, you need to write them down in lowercase. The racing drivers and engineers use short and effective way of communication during the stressful racing conditions. So this is basically where the searching part comes into play, because a lot of times you will hear some words that don't feel like making sense. That's definitely that's basically the short forms of different vocabulary which they use to make their communication effective, because during a race time they don't have time to explain somebody anything in detail. They're just like simple instructions and to and fro communication, and their job is done. So for these kind of words, whenever you come across any, you need to just write down the similar spellings on Google. For example, in this test, there were some words, those were some names. So what I do is I go to Google and for example, I hear something like Valtteri, okay? So it comes to my mind that, okay, it could be a name. So I will just write down this and then this, and it gives me the exact spellings of the word Valtteri. Same way, a lot of other different kind of words which they use. Uh, actually a very huge list, and from that, like you can just find it out if you feel that something is matching. So it's virtual safety cars, blue flag, end of straight, top speed, DRS, window, these kind of words. These will keep coming up when they're talking. So you need to be very attentive towards these, and you need to find the exact word and then write it down. Do not write just wrong words and without any sense. So each sentence isn't grammatically correct. Okay, so the transcription should be according to the way they pronounce it, because sometimes they will, like normally in a lot of transcription situations, you get across many words, like for example, because. Instead of because, the short form is cause. So if somebody pronounces it like that, then you need to write it down exactly as you heard it. You don't need to complete that full word. Okay. And then there is a situation in which you hear words like this, like I've, they've, they're going to, I've done this, I've done that, I've been there. So in these kind of situation, if you hear the word like this, then you need to write it exactly as this. You cannot change it to I have or they have or you are. You're not supposed to change any of that. Okay. In general speaking, you can judge according to the pronunciation on the stress of the stress. Okay. And abbreviations, they're definitely going to be using a lot of abbreviations and also a lot of numbers in the middle, like G20 or G20. So these kind of words, they need to be written down exactly as you hear it. For example, if the word is written as G20, it should be written as G20 in spelling. So you cannot use the digits over here, okay? But if the speaker spoke the same word as G20, then you need to write it like this. In that situation, G20 will also be wrong. Okay, so the basic idea is follow the pronunciation of the speaker and write down exactly as you hear it. And then we have some tags, like basically in this project, it's not very difficult to, stay strict on some given tags. They've just given us a type like this. In the square brackets, you can write it down. For example, you hear an engine sound when the person is speaking. If that engine sound is overlapping completely with the person's speech, then you don't need to write any tag. You just transcribe what the person is saying. But if it's separate, then in that situation, you need to write it down like this. Okay, if it's an engine sound, it should be written like this. If it's a tire sound, it should be like this. If you hear a burst or wind, very, very fast wind or rain sound. So in these kind of situations, for example, if you come across some pause in the middle, so normally, even if you don't write that pause in the bracket, it's okay. But if you want to add something, then you can simply write it down. Like, for example, the person says 3 seconds behind. And then there is some gap for 1 or 2 seconds, or maybe nothing's in the middle. And then after some time, the person starts to speak again. So in that situation, you can write it down like this. So this indicates that there was a pause in the sentence. Okay. And then okay, let me just check through if I'm missing something or not. Okay, so this last part of the guidelines, which says that you can get some audios which already will have this tag. Like now, this is something for later on when the platform comes in, not for this test. So you can ignore this last part. But when it comes, you need to keep in mind that this D is a number. It will be like X0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like some number. Those audios we don't need to transcribe. They're just there for the reference, so we understand the context of the audio better than not having those. So you don't need to transcribe those audios. This is something late for later on. No need to worry about this right now. And if you get an abbreviation or something like VIP or TV, you need to write them in capital letters, and you need to add a space in the middle of all of those letters. So this way, it will indicate that it's an abbreviation spoken in the audio. But one thing which you need to make sure is that you need to write down what you hear. This rule I'm emphasizing over and over again because you need to keep in mind while transcribing. It shouldn't be like the person is saying Mr. and you write MR, the short form. It should not be like that. The person is saying doctor and you write DR. So you're not supposed to follow that. If the person is saying complete doctor, then you need to write it down like DOCTOR, the complete spellings for that. Okay, so guys, once you've gone through the rules and you've once you have understood, because these are not very long, detailed rules. They're very simple rules for this test. And yeah, one more point, like these kind of words, alpha, beta, these kind of pronunciations and these kind of vocabulary, you will most likely hear a lot. Not maybe in these test audios, but when you're working, at that time, you're going to hear these kind of words a lot. And at that time, you cannot use these symbols. You need to write them down also in English spellings. Okay, guys, so up till now in these rules part, if there is anything confusing or if you guys want to ask something, please feel free. How to write G20. Okay. It's written over here. You can refer to this part. Like if the person is saying in the audio G20, then it will be written like this, G and then 20 in spellings. But maybe in some cases, the person may say G20. So if they say G20, then you need to write it down like this. In that case, you cannot write G20. Okay, guys. So basically, this is the same document which has all of the rules and everything described. It also has some very important things which I will take you through this basically to give you guys an idea of how the process is going to flow. Number one thing is the recruitment part, which is basically already in progress. Like you guys are joining in, more people are coming in. Then you need to go through the training, which we just had right now, and then you need to perform the test. If you get qualified, you get an account assigned for starting the work. If not, then either you can go back to training or you can leave the project. All depends on what kind of quality we find in your test, because this test is automated. It will not like take too much time for your results to come out. Because it already has the right answers on the platform. So it's just going to compare and see if you did the right transcription for those parts or not, because right now there is no segmentation, no interception included. So it's only the transcription check test. So once that test is passed, then you go back to go to your accounts and then you start working. In the start, as you most of you would already know, that we never give you guys very high targets in the start of the project, because the reason is we know that in the start, to learn the process, to learn the platform, to learn the uh, guidelines and rule, and to get used to it, it takes a little bit of time. Like sometimes it takes 2 days, sometimes it takes 3 days. For some cases, may take 5 or 6 days, which is an extremely long time for a simple project. But in some complicated projects, that also happens. So you do a minimal work, and we keep a continuous check on your work and the quality which you are doing. So if that quality is okay, then we move you towards standard targets and towards your daily production, and then you continue to work for the rest of the project. And the way to work is very easy. It's similar to how we already follow on the other projects, like your timings are flexible. It means you can choose your own working time, but at the same time, you need to ensure that you're at least putting at least 7 to 8 hours of working every day. Now, what are those hours? That is completely your own choice. You can break it down, you can do it consistent, all depends on you. It could be like you do work 2 hours in the morning sometime, and then in the day or in the evening, you work for 3 or 4 hours straight. And then at night, you take 2 or 3 hours again, and then you complete your targets. Because our daily target cycle, it starts at 9 p.m. one day and it ends on the 9 p.m. next day. So these are 24 hours in the middle in which you can decide which 8 hours you want to work, but those should be 8 dedicated hours. Only then you will be able to cope up with the daily targets and with the daily production plan. Okay, so guys, then the guidelines we've covered, the test part, you need the link for the test, which I will give you guys after this meeting. So one by one, or even all together, you guys can go ahead and attempt the test. And once the results are out, then we will move towards the accounts. And then there will be another training for the working platform to show the options and how to use it and how to do the transcription. How will you keep track of our quick crop between bets? Okay. So, guys, normally what we do is basically the daily targets which we announce, they are calculated based on how much time it will take for an average worker to produce that much work. If you're going below it, it means you're not putting the exact time. If you're going above it, maybe your speed is very good or you're putting in extra time. So that is the most basic way of judgment. Later on, we will move you guys to our own platform on which you will have check-in and check-out options on which, for example, when you work, you need to come and you need to enter check-in on the platform. And when you're taking a break for either lunch or for going out or something, you check out. So from that, we can also calculate your time. But that is something for later on. That's not going to happen right now. Okay, Aisha, for the test, I'm going to give you guys the link. And on that link, as I showed in the very start, you just need to enter your full name. And let me leave the test and show you again. You're going to get this page over here, enter your name, your phone number, your email, and your manager, and then submit. It's directly going to take you to the next page. Right now, it's not. Okay, enter the information like this, and then just click on submit. And it's going to directly take you over here. Read these guidelines in detail and do not start the test before you have completely understood these rules, because if you don't, then definitely you're going to fail and it's going to start the whole process again and again for you, and it's not going to let you move forward. So make sure to go through everything in detail and then start. Just listen to the audios by playing over here. I will share my sound as well so we can just go through the audios a little bit. Okay.
Okay, next car behind you is Alonso on the outlap. And the one behind that is Tsunoda 10 seconds.
Okay, so from here you can play. And yeah, okay, on odd question number 2, the audio is missing. This I will add right now before sharing the link, so you guys will have the audio over here as well. Okay, no need to worry about this.